Well, hello and welcome to the video. Let's talk about what real estate agents really do. In short, they facilitate transactions between sellers and buyers. They help people buy and sell homes. When they're working with a seller, they're going to recommend different things that be done to market the home. Example, the first and most basic one is putting a sign in the yard. And of course, that's up to the homeowner, the seller. Some sellers do not want a sign in the yard, and if they don't want one, you're not going to put it there, but it's a recommendation. In a lot of cases, it's a good thing to do. Beyond that, the agent is going to undertake all sorts of other activities, from getting the home listed in MLS so that all the other agents see the property, being able to do marketing and advertising on various social media platforms, including YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and all sorts of other things. As well as many agents will still do print advertising in different localities, depending on what's working, and different ways of doing things. Direct mail to homes around the property so that they're able to tell their friends and family members and their spheres of influence and let everybody know that the home is for sale. Of course, it's in accordance with the wishes of the client, who is the seller and is the principal of the agent in this particular case. That brings us to another point. Real estate agents can represent either the seller or the buyer as their principal and as their client, or even they can represent both. It gets a little confusing, but you have to have written disclosures no matter who it is that you're representing if you're the agent, so that everybody is clear and understands who's paying who and who's loyal to who in a client relationship type deal. So when the agent is working with buyers, they're going to get information from the buyer about the type of property and the areas and that sort of thing, the amenities, price range, and so forth. They're going to recommend that the home buyer get in touch with a mortgage loan officer and get pre-approved. Once all that's taken care of, they're going to seek out and find homes that match the criteria given by the buyers, and then they're going to set up showings and make arrangements to get into the homes and show them to the prospective home buyers. And then once a property is found that meets the parameters, the agent is going to assist them with writing the offer. The offer will then be presented to the sellers, and if the sellers agree and sign off on it, then it becomes a contract. And the agent's duties are not over at that point. The smart agents understand that getting it under contract and getting it to closing are two different things. So they're going to stay on top of everything. They're going to communicate with everybody throughout the process. Lots of things have to happen. Typically, there's going to be an appraisal done, home inspections, wood destroying insects, pest, inspection. You have many other things that have to be done, lined up for the settlement, for the closing. And so the agent's going to facilitate, communicate, make sure all that stuff stays on track and on target. People are human. These things are relatively complicated. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of people involved in them. And all it takes is one little thing to fall out of whack and somebody not catch it. And then the closing gets kicked back, a week or 2 weeks or longer. And in some cases, that could even cause a deal to completely fall apart. So the agents are going to make sure, if they're smart, that everything stays on track all the way through settlement. And then even then, if they're really smart, the agents are going to maintain contact with their clients. So if you're representing the seller, you're going to send them cards, letters, follow up, maybe stop in and see them once in a while, that kind of thing, and stay in touch, because they may have other property that they need to buy or sell in the future. And they certainly also have people that they know, friends and family and coworkers and others in their spheres of influence, that they can send to you as referrals. So, it's an ongoing relationship business. It's important to understand that. Even if you come across somebody today that might not be willing or ready to sell right this minute, you're trying to build relationships with people and building a database and following up and staying in touch with folks. And the bigger that database gets over the years, the more people that you know, the more referrals you get, the easier the business can become. There's some agents out there that almost their entire business is built at this stage of their life on referrals. They're not having to do a whole lot of ground pounding to go out and find customers and clients. When you're first starting out, that's not going to be the case. You're not going to probably have very many people, if any, that are wanting or needing your services. So you're going to have to go out and do a lot of marketing activities, get yourself out there and be able to get some sales and be able to get some listings and that sort of thing. The way it works is that when you produce a sale, and that can be on the listing side or the selling side, when a property transaction that you're involved with makes it all the way through the process to settlement, then the commissions are paid out. The commissions are actually paid to the brokers that are involved. And then the brokers pay the agents. So if you're the agent, you'll get your commission split that you have an agreement with whatever brokerage you're affiliated with. I like the 80-20 split. So, make sure you get a brokerage that has a high split. In the old days, the commission split was 50-50. And the brokerage kept half of it and they gave the agent half of it. And that went on into perpetuity. There were no caps. There was no 80-20 and all that other kind of stuff. It was 50-50. And if you were extremely good and been around for a long time, they might offer you a little bit more than that, 60, 70, maybe 75% after a number of years to keep you from going someplace else. But typically, starting out agents and even agents that had several years of experience in the years gone by were 50-50 split. A lot better options out there today. Like I said, many brokerages that will start you out much higher than that. Some will start you out at 80-20. Some have caps so that after you get a certain amount of money to the brokerage for the year, you keep 100% of it from then on till the end of the year, and then it resets and starts over. But that's still a great thing. Now, usually there are admin fees and some transaction fees, so it's not completely actually 100% because you are paying something for each transaction, but it's only a couple $100 or something like that. It's not a whole lot of money in most cases. So for all intents and purposes, it is a very, very good deal to the end of the year when you have a company that has a cap. So consider those things when you're looking for a brokerage to join. Make sure they have a great commission split. Make sure they have a cap. Make sure they have some training, mentorship, and some other things to help you do better in the business of real estate. So that's really in just a very broad, quick few minutes of an overview what agents really do. Now, in terms of their day, how is their day spent? Depends on what you're focusing on doing. But part of the day is spent in staying current on your craft, learning new things that will help you market and sell real estate and stay ahead of the regulations and all that kind of stuff as they change as well. And beyond that, you're going to spend a lot of time trying to get in front of prospects, whether those are prospective sellers or whether if you're working with buyers as a buyer's agent, buyer's representative type thing, you try to get in front of buyers to work with. Different ways of going about doing that, from door knocking, which is not real effective, but some people still do that. Open houses, same thing. Some people think that's not effective. Some people think it is. I can tell you can get sales from that, but I've done it. You can do it too. But and on the flip side of the coin, in the beginning phases, if you have more time and you don't have a lot of money, you got to do whatever you got to do to get out there and get yourself in front of people. So, and you say, how am I going to do an open house? I don't have any listings. Well, you find another agent in your brokerage that has homes listed and talk to them and ask them if you can go sit and do an open house. Many times they would be more than happy to have you do that because their ultimate objective is they've got to get that property to be sold or they earn no commission, and the client, the seller, is not going to be happy. So, and some of these agents don't want to do open houses, and if they do, they may have more listings than they can handle. Can't cover them all, so they're more than happy to have you do that. That's what when I first started in real estate many years ago, and had no listings. I sat in other agents' properties and did open houses, and I think the first sale that I ever got, I believe, and it's a long time ago, but the best I can recall from memory, came off of doing an open house. A couple that I met actually wound up writing an offer on the home that I was sitting at an open house on, and then there was my first sale. So they worked years ago and they still work. Is it the most effective thing to do once you begin to establish your business? Probably not. But in the beginning phases, they can be a way of getting you started. So, but regardless of what you do, whether you're doing mailers, or whether you're doing door knocking, whether you're doing ads, you're doing social media stuff, you're doing YouTube video, whatever it is you're doing, you somehow have to get yourself out there, make people aware that you're involved in the real estate business, and let them know how they can get in touch with you so that they can essentially hire you to represent them. And then again, depending on whether you're working on the seller side or the buyer side, is going to dictate specific actions that you're going to take. But that's what you're going to do is spend your time trying to get listings or trying to find buyers so that you can show them properties and get the properties sold. And when you do that successfully, you're helping people out, you're helping them achieve and reach their own goals. You are also going to earn a commission. Now, the commission is a matter of negotiation. It is not set. The regulatory industries really don't like any talk or discussion about any kind of standard commission or anything, because there is no such thing. So the correct answer is the commission is a matter of negotiation. It's whatever the listing agent and the seller decide it is. Or if you're representing a buyer, it's whatever fee, whatever way that the buyer agrees in contract to pay you for your services. And when I say you, remember, all these agreements actually go through the client and the broker. Even though you're facilitating it, doing it, obtaining the signatures, it's actually an agreement between that client and your brokerage and your broker. And then when you successfully complete a transaction, get it all the way through to closing, the funds go to the broker and then the broker pays you. So technically, that's how it works. Those things are covered in your principles class. If you haven't already taken that, it'll be covered in depth and in detail. And your brokerage can break that down for you and should have additional training and so forth available for you. It's not really complicated. But the amounts, as far as what they can range, they can be anything you want them to be. They can range. I have in the past, now again, this is not set. It's not any kind of standard commission, anything like that. But most of the commissions that I have dealt with in the past have been in the 5, 6, 7% bracket. And I have seen and dealt with a few that have been far lower than that, 3%, something of that nature, some special circumstances. But again, they could be all over the board. So if you're looking at 3% of a $100,000 house, not many of those out there these days. Most homes are 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, 600,000, 700,000 and up. But just for simple math, 3% on $100,000 is $3,000. 5% is $5,000. 7% is $7,000. So you can take that $100,000 figure that you can figure off the top of your head, and if it's a $400,000 house, just multiply that number by 4. So that gives you a very quick way to, off the top of your head, know what the commission would be in that realm. And remember, the commission is going to be typically split. People will calculate this out and say, that's great. Whatever the amount is, whether it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7%, let's just say 4%. 4% of a $400,000 home is $16,000, right? So $4,000 per 100, that's 4 times 4, 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, that's 16 grand. So you sit here and say, well, $16,000 is great. That's a lot of money. It is, but remember, oftentimes you're going to have the listing side and you're going to have the selling side. That's going to oftentimes be 2 separate brokerages. So that amount of money is broken in half right out the gate. So if it's $16,000, it's $8,000 going to each side. You say, well, $8,000 is still good money. And it is, but that's going to be split between you and your broker. So whatever your split is with that broker determines how much of that money you're going to get. If it's 50-50, you're getting $4,000. If it's some higher ratio or whatever, you're getting whatever that amount is. So keep that in mind as you start looking for brokers to consider affiliating with. Make sure that they have a good commission split Make sure they have good training, make sure they have good tools, good resources, and things that will help you be able to do better in the real estate business. And then get out there and find yourself some clients and get to work. So hope that gives you a little bit of information. I'm going to be doing a lot more videos and covering in much more detail, but that is just a very quick overview of how it works. As a lot of years ago when I got involved in real estate the first time, and really when I started real estate to begin with, I started out as an investor, not as an agent. And I was interested in learning more about real estate. I was also interested in being able to generate additional money that I could use for real estate investments. That's what got me interested in it. I enjoyed helping people. I just really do. I did all those years ago, and I still to this day enjoy helping people get their home sold. And I enjoy especially helping first-time home buyers buy their very first home. It's always been something that's been near and dear to my heart. And I like working with investors. And when I first started in real estate, that's mainly what I did. But I've worked a lot with buyers, and I worked a lot with investors, folks that were buying multiple homes, usually to buy them to not so much flip them. You know, some would buy them and fix them up and sell them, but the majority of folks I work with would buy a home, fix it up, and rent it, and become landlords. So, real estate offers you a lot of different opportunities. Just a matter of figuring out what you want to do. If you want to get into it, taking your principles class, passing that, taking your exams, passing that, and then choosing a great brokerage to go to. And I can certainly help you out with that. I can give you my recommendations on the best brokerages that you should consider. And I'll say it all the time, over and over again, there is no single right answer for every single person. It's a matter of alignment, finding the one that is right for you right now. And I do have one in mind that I think is better than most for most people most of the time, but I can give you the names and information on some others as well. But if you want to get my recommendations and my thoughts on it, make sure you reach out and get in touch with me. I'll be happy to help you with that. And have a great rest of your day, whatever you're doing. And I'll talk to you again soon in the next video.